Well, how are near-death experiences and dreams similar? Well, have you ever had a dream you did not wish to end? Well, tune in as the Queen of Dreams-Kat Kanavos discusses the true stories. Hello everyone, I'm Andy in the Bloomer Boomer studio, and you are watching Boomer TV Live. You are part of an amazing community of people 55 plus at bloomerboomer.com. Join us, and now here is your host, the Queen of Dreams, Kat Kanavos.
Thank you, Andy, and welcome all you Bloomer Boomers. You know, dreams are amazing. I mean, truly, truly amazing. Last week, we talked about dreams that basically told us love never dies. These were dreams of deceased loved ones who came back to share time and space with us in the dream world. And I used June's story, one of my best friends who had passed over, and I really just wanted to see her again. I didn't have any other goal. I didn't want to get information from her. I just wanted to see her because I missed her so much. And she came back to me in a dream, and that's what we discussed last week. Well, this week we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to talk about dreaming for others. And what I'm going to be talking about is in my book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. And so in the book, there's a section called Dreaming in Tandem and With or For Other People. And it's research and stories from dreams that can save your life. So the big question is, how is it possible to dream for other people? So I'm going to share a story with you from the book I just told you, Dreams That Can Save Your Life. And it's actually on page 242, if you've got the book or you want to get the book, about this amazing dream research done by Dr. Larry Burke of Duke University Medical. And this part of the book is really amazing because it's people who dreamed for others. Now, when I was on a radio show just a couple days ago, a big show, the host said to me, well, you know, if you're having dreams about your health, how do you know it's not just your brain giving you this information in your dream? That there's not like something really necessarily special going on. Like there's not a sacred dream door you go through to get information from another realm. It's just coming out of your head in your dream. And I said, well, that could be very true. Your brain is actually the computer for your body. And so if your body is off by just a couple of degrees, or if you've got an alien invasion in your bloodstream, like a virus, or you have the beginnings of a disease, your brain, your computer is going to know it before anything else, before blood tests, before physical exams, before x-rays, before anything. Your brain is going to be aware that something's off in your body. And yes, it can go into your dreams and it can tell you in your dreams. But how do you explain how other people can dream for basically perfect strangers and then have those dreams validated? The brain is not in the person that's dreaming about the other person. What is that connection? So I wanted to tell you this story that's in the book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life. And this story involves three really extraordinary gifted individuals. There's a health educator and spiritual healer, and her name is Jane Katra. And then there's Russell Targ, T-A-R-G, and he was a laser physicist. And he was also a remote viewing expert. So it shows you that what you've got here is a spiritual healer and a laser physicist. Okay, so he's bright to begin with, but he's also got the skill of remote viewing. And his deceased daughter, Elizabeth, who prior to her untimely death from a brain tumor, was a leading integrative medicine physician, and she was doing research on the health benefits of prayer. And this was in February of 2017. So we had three really extraordinary people here. So the woman who's having the dream writes Russell an email, and this is what she wrote. She said, "Hi, Russell. I had a compelling dream visit with you in the astral early this morning. In the dream, Elizabeth, remember the deceased daughter, showed me a shocking image of you, conveying to me that you were not 100% well. She emphasized to me that your condition was something that I could see, but that you weren't paying attention to it at all. She stressed that you could not feel that you had a problem. The words that came to me in the dream were, 'It's like a silent problem.' And that's why I'm sending you this email. In any case, I was shocked at your appearance that she showed me in the dream. Then I was with you in that dream, and I told you your appearance was not right at all. I was seeing your torso all bloated up with brown and green splotchy skin. My thoughts were green, gangrenous, something being starved of oxygen. My thought in the dream was, well, maybe your heart is not pumping strongly enough. Then I heard her leaned over and I put my heart close to yours, and a huge whoosh of energy burst out in the dream, and I was jolted awake. I knew I was meant to contact you and tell you about this. I hope you're doing well. Do take care. Please be aware of the dream. Blessings and love, Jane." So Russell Targ emailed her back saying he was feeling just fine, which was exactly how Elizabeth had told her he would react. Again, Elizabeth is Russell's deceased daughter in spirit who had been a medical doctor and who had told me on her deathbed, so she had actually known the daughter on her deathbed, that she was not done being a healer. So 5 days later, let's fast forward now, 5 days later, Russell's standing in his living room. He walks into the kitchen and suddenly his heart rate dropped dramatically. He reported that he had no pain, but lots of sudden sweating, weakness, and heaving in his chest. You'll know what that means if you ever experienced it. He remembered the dream that was sent to him in the email, and he immediately called 911, and 5 paramedics in rubber boots and tons of hardware arrived at his door within 5 minutes. And within another minute, they determined that his heart rate was near nil. His heart had practically stopped. And he says that they ripped off his t-shirt and started shocking him with paddles in his dining room. And within 8 minutes of calling 911, he was on his way to Stanford Hospital. And they told him that he wouldn't live long enough to get to his doctor in Kaiser. And so then the paramedics called ahead to Stanford, and they were waiting. His doctor was waiting for him when he arrived at emergency. Now, Russell also reports that he became unconscious and had 90 minutes of extremely unpleasant electrical shocks administered to his heart. And each time they brought him back to temporary consciousness. The next he remembered was being in recovery with a pacemaker installed and a heart rate of 60. Russell's now back home and feeling much better. But the point of this story is we had someone dreaming for someone else. Russell's deceased daughter came to the woman who was having the dream for Russell, who barely knew Russell. And she told him that this heart attack was going to happen. And when it did, to be prepared to call 911. Now, if she had not done that, Russell would not have known when he was starting to have the heart attack to grab the phone and immediately call 911, because remember, he was having no pain. So this story that's in this book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, begs the question, how can that happen? How can somebody else have a dream for us? How could someone I met in the grocery store suddenly have a dream for me and know me well enough to have my email, but not close friends, send me an email and say, hey, I had a dream about you. And in the dream, you weren't doing well. And oh, by the way, June, that I had talked about in our last show, came to me in my dream and told me to tell you this, and this. And when it happens, to call the doctor. Now, how can that be? My answer is quite simply universal oneness. We are all connected by universal oneness. We all came from the same source. We are humans having a spiritual experience on the earth plane. And because of that, we have what I also call quantum entanglement. Think of the whole quantum universe. Think of all of that universal oneness as a big web with little silk threads in the web. And when a bit of the web vibrates up here, it vibrates all the way to the center. And we are scattered throughout that web. So when one part of the web moves, the other person on the other side of the web feels it, because we're connected on that quantum website, that web, almost like a website, yes, like that quantum website or that quantum web. And so through that, we're able to dream for each other. When it's not our time to die, we can still have a crisis that could end our life earlier than it should, because as human beings, we have bodies that break down. We're not spirits where we have heart attacks as spirits. We are humans where we have heart attacks as humans. And so we're here for a life purpose. And if our body breaks down or a crisis happens sooner than we expect it to, sooner than we plan for it to, sooner than we can complete our life purpose, then people in the earth plane with whom we are connected through quantum spirituality, through universal oneness, can get information from a deceased loved one, and that creates that triangle of life. And somebody else can actually dream for us to help keep us alive. I know it seems so amazing. How can that possibly happen? But it does. And in the book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, every single dream, every single dreamer, and every single person in that book who shared a dream experience with us that saved their life, Dr. Larry Burke and I had to have the pathology reports that showed that what they told us was absolutely true. So not only are these dreams, precognitive dreams, talking about a health event before it happened, but they're dreams that were then validated by pathology reports. And that is what makes them so profound. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. Andy's got some things to tell us in the break.
Back, we're going to just take a brief break, and we'll be back with the Queen of Dreams, Kat Kanavos. And you can send your questions to Kat at bloomerboomer.com. And you can join this amazing journey with the Bloomer Boomer community. Register on the website to receive the Boomer Living Letter, get member benefits, and just get involved with the platform and launch the most fulfilling life you want after 55. Now let's get back to the Queen of Dreams, Kat Kanavos, with your questions. Kat, we do have a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So Emily is saying that or wondering, I guess, why is it important to learn our own dream language?
That's a great question, Emily. Well, we learn to communicate with our living loved ones, with our spouses, our friends, using our day language. And it took us a while to learn it. We weren't born understanding language. We had to learn to use our language. We had to learn to speak and understand what other people were saying to us in order to be successful in life, in order to have the edge over other people who didn't understand. For instance, if you went to a foreign country and you didn't speak the language, it'd be hard getting around. It'd be hard ordering food off of a menu unless you could point. But if you didn't know the language, you would look around and look at things like what was on their plate, and you could point, or you could point at a car, or you could point at your watch for your arm, like what time is it, using signs and symbols. Well, in our dream language, it's much the same. Our inner selves, our spirit guides, our guardian angels, all speak to us in our dreams. And until we can learn that dream language, we have to look at signs and symbols. But you can have a number of things that can mean different things with the same symbol. For instance, a snake. I just happen to love snakes. So when I see a snake in my dreams, I have learned from my dream language that it means a kundalini. I'm going to get something really, really important told to me in that dream. So now I need to kind of sit up in my dream and pay attention because I know it's going to be important. Somebody else who really dislikes snakes would see a snake in their dream, and they would go, uh-oh, a snake in the grass. There's a snake that's going to bite. A rattlesnake, beware, don't tread on me. So a snake means something to one person, and it can mean something to somebody else. And that's where keeping a dream journal, writing down your dream, underlining the words that are really important to you in that dream and what they mean to you is the beginning of learning your dream language. And then what you're going to find is much what I described in the email for dreaming for somebody else. Once you understand your dream language, you can help yourself and you can help others with dreams because you'll understand what your dreams are saying to you. And just like in your waking world, when you understand the language, in your dreaming world, when you understand your dream language, you are going to have an edge over other people who do not. So it's all about being bilingual and using your dreams to help you be bilingual.
Yeah, journaling, that's a good one. I like that idea. Brad here has a question related to Albert Einstein and about time continuum. How is it part of the precognitive dream?
Yeah, that's another great question. I happen to travel basically on the time continuum when I'm in my dreams that are precognitive dreams, and my dreams are taking me into the future to see what's going to happen. In my case, they were telling me I had cancer. And they're not always about illness. For instance, just lately, my husband and I sold our house that we'd been in for 22 years up in Cape Cod. It was our summer home. And in the dream, my dad was in the basement sorting through all of our stuff we had accumulated in 22 years. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. And he's looking at me and he said, "This is gone in 2 weeks." And I suddenly realized he meant the house was going to be sold and we were going to have that out of the house. So I told my husband, and sure enough, within 2 weeks, the house sold. Like 5 days later, the house sold, and we had to have everything out in 2 weeks. So actually, the time continuum is like a space time in a mathematical model that joins space and time into a single idea called a continuum. This is a fourth dimensional continuum. Dreams are often referred to as fifth dimension. So this fourth dimension continuum is known as Minkowski space. And it has to do with combining these two ideas that help dreamers and cosmology also to understand how the universe works on a really big level. So Einstein tapped into that and he said, yes, it's real. This time continuum can take you in the dream world into the future, or in a subconscious level into the future and back into the past, because it all becomes the big now. And that big now is always in the dream world. You may be looking at the past in your dream or into the future, but it's all happening now. And that's Einstein's time continuum.
More, if I can get squeeze it in. This is from Mimi, and she dreamt the other night that her brother and the rest of them were on an airplane that crashed, and then the next day she found out that her brother was real sick, and she says she's felt that, and she's had those kind of premonitions from time to time.
Oh, I always say you need to look at the play on words. And the play on words is when we get sick, we crash. And so I'm wondering if the plane, him being on the plane, means he is just traveling too quickly. He's not able to keep up with himself, as it were, and he was going to crash. In other words, he was going to get sick. So sounds to me like she did have a precognitive dream. Sometimes we don't understand them if we don't understand our dream language. But if she starts keeping a journal, Andy, and every time she sees that there is a plane in the dream, and then watches for what the validation is in the waking world to see if there's a connection, she could soon learn that whenever she sees a plane and it crashes, it might mean that she's set up for a crash. Doesn't mean she's going to get in a plane and crash. It just means that her plane is where she is at that time. She's flying high above everything else. And it could be that she's just a little too high, going a little too fast, a little too much, and she's going to have a crash.
Journaling idea. Do you want to talk about what you're doing in next week's show a little bit?
Sure. Next week, I'm not going to be doing a show. I'm going to be traveling. But the following week, you know what? I can't remember what we were going to do, Andy. I think I sent that to you, but I moved it off.
I'll double check on it, and I'll put it in there in the notes, so that when we post it, I'll put that in there.
I know it was good. I do remember that.
But more exciting, and also it's exciting to know about your book and all that.
Oh my goodness, yes, my book, Crappy to Happy, and these are true stories about grit, grace, and love. And the funny thing is, Andy, we put the book up on Amazon last week, just before having the book release, the big, push on Amazon, so that we could get it to be an Amazon bestseller. And it became an Amazon bestseller overnight, a week before we started promoting it. And we ran out of books.
Wow. What a good problem to have, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so the foreword is written by James Redfield, who did the Celestine Prophecy. So I know all you boomers out there know who he is. And we've got a chapter in here by Dr. Bernie Siegel, and he writes about losing his beloved wife and how he dealt with that and moved from that crappy place into a happy place now. It is on Amazon. You can go there and get it. Crappy to happy.
Well, thanks so much, Kat, and that's exciting about the book, and we'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay.
Good night, all you boomers.
Bye-bye.
Night, Andy.
Good night. Well, thank you for watching Kat Kanavos, Your Dreams with the Queen of Dreams, and you can find out more on Facebook, YouTube, and at boomer.com. And if you like this, please like us on Facebook and follow us